day, this is the Professor, drwillphd, PhD, and today's Sunday, May 7th, 2023. It is 4:38 and 43 seconds, a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and today's research, Caesarean. So let's jump to it here. Labor induction doesn't always reduce Caesarean birth risk or improve outcomes for term pregnancies. Statewide findings suggest a need for a thoughtful, equitable approach to inducing labor for people who reach 39 weeks of pregnancy. Date May 2nd, 2023. Source: University of Michigan. The findings conflict with previous national trial results. Women who underwent electric induction were more likely to have a cesarean birth compared with those who underwent expectant management, 30% versus 24%. They collaborated with peer hospitals to better understand how labor induction may influence cesarean birth outcomes and real-world maternity units outside of a clinical trial. In the study sample, they found inducing labor in this population of women and birthing people did not reduce the risk of cesarean birth. The new research was based on more than 14,135 deliveries in 2020, analyzed through a statewide maternity care quality collaborative registry. The collaborative, known as the Obstetrics Initiative, and which began in 2018, includes at least 74 birthing hospitals and centers on reducing primary cesarean birth rates of low-risk pregnancies. The study was conducted in response to published research in 2018 from a multi-center trial known as a randomized trial of induction versus expectant management. Researchers mimicked the same framework used in the national trial and analyzed data from the collaborative's data registry, comparing 1,558 patients who underwent a proactively induced labor versus 12,577 who experienced expectant management. Researchers designed analytic framework mirroring the previous trials protocol using retrospective data. The results didn't reinforce a link between elective induced labor and late pregnancy and a reduction in cesarean births. In fact, results from the general Michigan sample were contradictory to the arrived trial. Women who underwent elective induction were more likely to have a cesarean birth compared with those who underwent expectant management, 30% versus 24%. In a subset of the sample matching patient characteristics for a more refined analysis, there were no differences in C-section rates. Authors noted that time between admission and delivery was also longer for those induced. Expectantly managed women were also less likely to have a postpartum hemorrhage, 8% versus 10%, for operative vaginal delivery, 9% versus 11%. Whereas women who underwent induction were less likely to have a hypertensive disorder of pregnancy, 6% versus 9%. There were no other differences in neonatal outcomes. Researchers point to several possible explanations for why the two studies had conflicting results. One key difference was that the Michigan study collected data afterwards for the purpose of quality improvement in the general population of low-risk births. The arrived trial, however, used data collected in real time as part of a research study. A significant difference between individuals in a clinical trial and the general birthing population may revolve around shared decision making. Before trial enrollment, participants underwent a thorough informed consent process from trained study team members. As for the arrived trial, this meant 72% of women approached to be in the study declined participation. Meanwhile, previous research has indicated that women in the general U.S. population often may feel pressured into agreeing to have their labor induced. The scientific researchers say better outcomes may have occurred in the trial because the participants were fully accepting of this process. As further research is needed to identify best practices to support people undergoing labor induction prior to initiating an elective induction of labor policy. Clinicians should also ensure resources in the process to fully support shared decision making. Researchers also found that the practice of inducing labor at 39 weeks was not applied equally across demographic groups, with those being induced more likely to be birthing people who are at least 35 years old, identified as white non-Hispanic, and who are privately insured. The hospitals across the Michigan collaborated, varied in size, teaching status, and location, but the sample size for induced deliveries was not adequate to analyze the impact of specific hospital factors on outcomes. However, the team's additional analysis found Caesarean birth rate after induced delivery did not differ between large hospitals and the rest of the collaborator. Inductions of labor for both medical indications and individual preferences will continue to be part of modern obstetrics, making it important to pursue strategies that optimize the induction process and outcomes. As future work should include a health equity approach and include the voices of pregnant people and their experiences of changes in care management. And this is the Professor of Microbiology, Bioinformatics, Pathophysiology, and leader of research. This video was created for educational purposes only. Hope you enjoyed listening. Until next time, have a great day.